Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to week two of the spring semester 2026. Okay, in these videos, I like to kind of talk about what we did last week and what we're doing this week, and maybe toss something extra in there as well, because there's so much stuff that I want to show you about AI that doesn't necessarily fit into the modules. So we're going to do a little bit of extra today. All right, let me go ahead and shrink my picture down here. And if I can, there we go. Doop. Okay. So great job last week. I know we have a very small group. There's only three of you. But especially with the AI talk and we do the discussions, I'm only requiring that one response back to another classmate. So mix it up between the three of you. Um, and then everything else looks great. If you haven't noticed, I mean, with the class, the skill builder is sort of that um, either you did it or you didn't to get the 25 points. The module assignment, that's the one that's going to have more depth to it, obviously at 75 points. And everybody should get the knowledge check, which you did. So great job there. I mean, you're getting the 20. I always get the easy points. That's the way these classes work. And as far as just in general, like how do I get the A in this class? It's designed as long as you do the assignments with a good faith effort, you're gonna get an A. Where you don't get an A is if you have a zero in the grade book. So don't have a zero. Make sure that you get things turned in. Now, in regards to late work, I do accept late work. There is a small deduction on points to be fair to those individuals that turned it in on time. Now, if there's extenuating circumstances, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I definitely can work with you if there's, some sort of unexpected events. Just, shoot me a text message or something. And so I know, if it's not in the Dropbox when I go to grade, maybe there's a reason. Of course, if I go to grade and there's nothing in there, then I'm like, I don't know what to do. And usually, what I do is, if that happens, I will put a single point, 1 point in there. That doesn't mean you have 1 point. You can always turn it in. Again, there will be a deduction on points, but that's how students lose letter grades. Again, good faith effort, get them all in. Hopefully, it's very doable, and you'll get an A in this course. All right, so we're looking good this for last week. This week, same flow. I did beef out the rubric on the assignment. That's probably something I should have started to develop out, but so the rubric's more beefed out for this week. So please take a look at that. Follow the rubric. Make sure you check all the boxes off in that excellent section, and you're going to get, you'll get the full points or nearly there. All right, so that's pretty much it for kind of course coverage. Um, let's go back here. Okay. And just real quick, as a reminder, make sure you're watching all these videos every week. Okay, again, I'm going to toss a few extra AI things in here. And if we do make any changes to the course, that's going to be in these videos. And if we do make changes, it's always usually to your, well, almost say always to your benefit. So make sure you're checking those. All right, let's talk about custom instructions. All right, so again, I'm going to focus on the big three models. I think it might be available in Grok. I don't know. I usually don't dabble. As I said a couple of times, I usually don't dabble with Grok. I can get plenty of what I need out of the three. But custom instructions. So last week, you got to play with those AIs and you saw how they responded. They all have a different flavor. However, you can change that flavor. You can change how it reacts. So here's something interesting. So underneath all of these things is a large language model, and it's somewhat neutral in its personality. And I say somewhat neutral, uh, but what they do is these companies, OpenAI or Anthropic or Google, they layer on top of that an instruction set, and you can um, there's internet sleuths out there. They can go and a lot of people find that instruction set, And it's nothing. I mean, you think like, oh, it's going to be written in code and I can't read it. No, it's natural language. They literally write and tell it how to behave, and that's layered on top of that. And that's what gives each one kind of its own personality. So, but what you can do is layer on top of their instruction set, your own instruction set to get it to behave, kind of nudge it in certain directions. So, for example, um, and they all three of these have this. So let's see here. Okay, so I'm in my Plus account here, but it's fine. You'll be able to see the same features. Um, I checked and it is available in the free versions. So, but what you want to do is go into settings, look around the settings, and just read because there's a lot of cool little things in here. So with settings, and let's see here, and that is under personalization. Okay, so under personalization, you can change the characteristics. What I think is um, OpenAI or ChatGPT does a great job with kind of these dials that you have. Obviously, right here, you can see you can change it. You can change its characteristics right here. You know, if you want it more warm or less warm, enthusiastic, emojis. Love doing emojis, so I cranked it down to less. Then, so you have these characteristics, but this is, oops, shoot, hit the wrong box. Okay. Go back to settings, go back to personalization. Okay. Custom instructions. So for me, um, and I should probably change this, but at one point, GPT was overly, ending things with, is there anything else? Happy to help. And I was just like, this is annoying. So I put custom instructions in there to do that, to get rid of that. So it was a little bit more boop, 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 and then done. It didn't keep going, like, oh, what else can we do? Happy to help. I wanted to get rid of that behavior. So you can, if you want something, you can nudge it in this direction. Now you might see a little bit seep through. It may not be perfect, but it definitely does change the behavior. So, for example, if you don't know, like, well, maybe how do I write this? I have no idea how to write this. Use AI to help you create the custom instruction. So, for example, I was playing around, so I really wanted a thought partner. I'm going to copy this. So I said, what would be a good custom instruction for a thought partner? Now, a thought partner is not going to agree with you. They're going to challenge you. They're going to say, and they're also going to look for voids or faulty logic. So you want someone who's going to be like a good coach, with you, and you're going to work together and kind of push and pull each other. So I spent about 3 minutes going through AI, iterating, creating that, and came up with a new set of custom instructions because I haven't done this for quite a while. So, and it recommended, I said, here's the other thing. Like, if you don't know what to do, just ask it. And I do know that each of these models, they like to be talked to in a different way. So, um, and you can get actual prompt guides from each one of these companies. I know Anthropic has one. I'm pretty sure GPT has one, and how to, how it likes you to talk to it with especially instructions. Like, for example, GPT responds well with all caps. Let's say if you really wanted to focus something like, don't do this, and you put it in all caps. However, um, Claude doesn't really like all caps. So each one has a little nuance there. But if you don't know what those nuances are, just say, hey, op, create the prompt. And now, okay, now optimize this for GPT. So that's what I did. Um, and it recommended a two-stage custom instruction. So it said, you really you want to say what it should know about you, and then it should say you really should put in there how it respond. So, yeah, it created this as we were going back and forth on kind of what I wanted it to do. And just you can kind of read here. I use ChatGPT as a thinking partner for strategy, writing, decision, problem solvings. I value clear reasoning, honest critique. Sometimes it can be sycophantic. It can be like, "Oh, you're so great," "Oh, awesome job." No, I don't. Only give me hey, I only want the prize if I've really done a good job. So don't be overly complimentary. Let's high five after we really created something great. I prefer direct, well-structured responses and stay concise and do not leave out important nuances and how to respond. Act as a rigorous, constructive thinking partner. And that's also by the end of this class, I want you to think of these as thinking partners. They are definitely collaborators, thinking partners, coworkers. Um, so hopefully by the end of the class, you're going to look at, or even engaging in any task, you're going to have, here's my thinking partner, and let's go. But in this case, act as a rigorous, constructive thinking partner. Start by identifying the core issues of a decision. Separate facts, assumptions, interpretations. I really loved how we built this out. I'll just kind of skip through. Be practical, outcome oriented. You use headings only to improve clarity. Sometimes these things are heady, especially GPT or heading heavy. Um, and then when appropriate, end with the strongest recommendation, next step, and decision framing. I love that. So I'm going to plug that in there. Boom. I'm going to hit save. Doink. All right. So custom instructions. You can find that in all of the areas here. I think it's under settings for Claude. Yeah. Personal preferences is what they call it. So, yeah, think about that. Again, you're going to start to gravitate towards one, and then you can build it out to kind of be some. Not only does the general model resonate with you, but then you can add these instructions on top of it to now you guys are like working in sync. But I would challenge you to also remember, don't make it someone's a yes man. That's not where the value is. The value is, it's going to challenge. You don't want it to. I've done this before where I said, challenge me, and then it was contrarian, which means it just everything I said, it just said, well, think about this, or hey, this. And I was like, no, that's too much. I don't need someone who's like constantly pushing that in the other direction when we come up with something. However, look for my blind spots. What are we missing? And tweak that. So again, it's someone who's really going to work with you together to make the best product possible. And then again, here's Gemini, also instructions for Gemini. Lastly, if you have no idea, ask it. Because for Gemini, for example, I was like, that one's probably used less frequently of the three for me. And I'm like, oh, I don't know where it's at. I said, do you have custom instructions and where is it at? Oh, yeah, sure. Here's where it's at. It told me, what links to click and all of that. So if you don't even know, you know, how do I do custom instructions? Ask it how to do it and then build that custom instruction, even using AI to iterate and kind of get that tailored, instruction piece, just like you want it. The great thing is if you find the responses aren't quite resonating, you can, get rid of it, or tailor another way. So play around with custom instructions. I think you're going to find your outputs now start to get even stronger and better. All right, that's it for this week. Everybody have a fantastic week. And if there's anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks.